There are times in England when it is perfectly normal and not at all disagreeable to see a bountiful display of the national flag. It used to be just even-numbered summers during the European Championships or World Cups of men's football.
That England spirit is alive again!
It is now, given the popular embrace of England's women's football team in recent years, every summer, the Women's European Championships and World Cups occurring in the odd numbers.
It's Kelly. Hammers it home!
Other notable eruptions of England's flag might occur during Rugby World Cups or a series of cricket matches against Australia, if England are doing all right. This summer in England has been different, notwithstanding a Women's Euros in which England's mighty Lionesses successfully defended their title.
Now that is proper English!
This summer in England, England's flag has also been flying, very unusually, in a political context. At which it is probably necessary to be clear for the benefit of international listeners which flag we're talking about. Any citizen of the United Kingdom is a citizen of at least two countries, or at least two political constructs, the United Kingdom being comprised of four nations, i.e. England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. The United Kingdom entire is represented by the red, white and blue Union flag or Union Jack, which purports to be an amalgamation of the flags of the UK's constituent nations but isn't really. There is no representation of the Welsh flag, as Wales wasn't thought of as a separate entity when the Union Jack was designed, which is a shame as the Welsh flag has an absolutely excellent dragon on it. England's flag is the Cross of St George, England's patron saint, red cross, white background. The difference may be thought of like this. The United Kingdom goes to war, the Olympics and the Eurovision Song Contest under the Union Jack, but each individual country tends to play team games on its own, with an asterisk next to Northern Ireland, as the island of Ireland plays football as two countries, i.e. Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, but rugby as one, with players from both sides of the border, but that is arguably a whole other explainer. The point here being that the Cross of St George has in modern times generally been associated with sport. Except when it hasn't, and here is where we approach the peculiar events of recent weeks. The Cross of St George does have, or is at least widely perceived to have, some less wholesome connotations. It's not quite the English equivalent of the Confederate stars and bars, but not far off in certain contexts. It has been recurrently appropriated by the far right. It has been brandished by English football hooligans. At least one of the online groups encouraging the current proliferation of the cross, Operation Raise the Colours, was co-founded by a character with links to far-right organisations. And for these and other reasons, among them the somewhat performative self-hatred of the English middle classes, the Cross of St George is regarded in modern metropolitan English liberal circles as extremely Brexit-coded. There is not the time in this explainer, or indeed the interval between now and the Earth being swallowed by a collapsing sun, to fully pass the minutiae of the class element here, so one example will have to do us. Back in 2014, Emily Thornberry MP, then Shadow Attorney General, was forced to resign from the Labour Party's front bench after posting a picture she took while campaigning in Kent of a dreary modern terrace house flying 3 St George's crosses over a white van in a paved forecourt. She appended no caption more disparaging than "image from Rochester," but the silent snigger was audible to all, especially when insinuated by a politician representing Islington, proverbial habitat of the North London oat milk latte tendency. So it is that the Cross of St George has been adopted as a rebel standard by those who believe themselves to be forgotten and or forsaken by an indifferent or malevolent establishment. In the last couple of weeks, the Cross of St George has been widely hung or spray painted on road signs, roundabouts and businesses owned by people who are, or look like they might be, foreign, by folk wound up by a social media campaign amplified by anti-immigration British politicians and egged gleefully on by the proprietor of one social media platform in particular, apparently unabashed by the irony that he is himself an African immigrant to the United States.
I'm pro-immigrant. I just want to make sure that people who come here are going to be assets to society.
The phenomenon has placed the UK's already unpopular Labour government in an impossible position. It can hardly decry the hoisting or emblazoning of a national flag as intimidation or vandalism, though some of it clearly is, or deride the flag hangers and flag painters as unlettered yokels who should put down their phones and pick up a book, though it does seem on balance unlikely that many of these bellicose patriots spend their working weeks employed at the local rocket laboratory. Which is why, instead, senior members of government have been so desperately overcompensating. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has solemnly informed the nation that the Cross of St George hangs in his Downing Street apartment and that he's all aboard for flags generally.
I'm a supporter of flags.
The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has enthusiastically given the distinct impression that all her household linen is red, white and or blue.
I've got St George's flags, I've got St George's bunting, I've got the Yorkshire Rose bunting as well.
The bad news is that there will be much more where this came from, as the Labour Party struggles with the fact that its key demographic bases, the provincial working classes and big city middle classes, have ever more divergent interests and can't stand each other. The good news is that it's only a couple of months until everybody can start losing their minds over Remembrance Day poppies. For Monocle Radio, I'm Andrew Miller.